Hey guys, and thanks for listening to another episode of the Scene to Screen Film Podcast. I'm Kieran, and this is my spoiler-free review of Maze Runner: The Death Cure. This is the third and final film in the Maze Runner trilogy, and in this one we kind of get a sense that the stakes have been raised, things are more dangerous than they were in the previous two films. Thomas, who is played again by Dylan O'Brien, he's kind of on this mission to find and rescue one of his captured friends, along with all of the other kids that have kind of been taken. Obviously, there is more to the film than that, and we do kind of get to see the big clash between Thomas and Wicked, but I don't really want to tell you anything more out of fear of spoilers, so without any further kind of discussion, let's get into this review. And I want to start by saying that, as a whole, I've pretty much enjoyed each of the Maze Runner movies to a certain degree. After the success of the first Hunger Games film, we saw this kind of annoying boost of copycat franchises. Like, all of a sudden there were 10 different dystopian futures, and it was honestly difficult to kind of keep track of which apocalyptic world was which. And I think it's fair to say that at this point in 2018, that film genre has kind of died away, with Maze Runner being kind of the last installment of that genre. Obviously the Divergent franchise failed miserably, and even the Hunger Games sequels didn't reach the heights of that first film, but with that said, I think that Wes Ball, who directed all three of the Maze Runner films, I think he's kind of been able to create a consistent trilogy of films. You could argue that none of the Maze Runner films have been great, and I don't think any of them have been great, but I also don't think any of them have been bad, or even close to bad. They've just kind of been there, and for the most part they've been entertaining. So I would argue that while the Maze Runner franchise might not be a great one, it's certainly one of the best that we've seen from that young adult movie genre. And looking closer at The Death Cure, I'm really surprised by the directing in this film, because while I would say that each of the Maze Runner films have been pretty well directed, Wes Ball kind of stepped up his game and took the franchise to a new level with this film. The cinematography is incredible throughout most of the film, and I was really surprised to see how impressive the visual effects are in this film. I kind of expected Fox to maybe cut the budget a little bit on this third film, just because of some of the production issues and maybe a less interested audience, but that's clearly not the case because some of these visual effects are incredible, as are the many action sequences and big explosive set pieces. All of that kind of stuff is executed and used really well, and that's just a testament to Wes Ball's kind of talents as the director. And just like the two previous Maze Runner films, this third installment is a really well acted action movie. Dylan O'Brien is proving himself to be one of the better actors of his generation, and even though we've not seen him in a truly great film yet, he does give everything he's got to this character and carries this film really well. The cast also includes Thomas Brodie-Sangster, who you might know from Game of Thrones. He's really good in this film, and it's kind of the friendship between his character Newt and O'Brien's character Thomas that gives the film its emotional edge, and I think those two actors did a great job of conveying that friendship. Kaya Scodelario, she's pretty good in this film. Despite some issues with a fake American accent, at various points throughout the film you could kind of hear a tinge of her British accent come through, but overall I'd say she's pretty good in this film. Giancarlo Esposito does a great job in this film, as does Rosa Salazar, Aidan Gillen and Patricia Clarkson, so yeah, overall I think this is a pretty well acted action film. Where Maze Runner: The Death Cure runs into some issues is in its runtime, and it's kind of a difficult thing to judge because this film is too long. It clocks in at around 2.5 hours, and that's a very long runtime for this kind of action movie. But you've also got to think about the fans of the books and kind of what they expect from this final installment, having waited years to see it. So for the average film fans, I'd say that you might feel that this film drags, but there is a reason for that length, and I think the fans of the books will kind of appreciate that Wes Ball took the time to insert the smaller details. There are also a few various moments throughout the film where certain decisions and certain actions don't really make sense. This isn't a massive issue, and the things that are happening obviously need to happen to push the plot forward, but some of the decisions that characters make don't always make sense for that character. I'm not sure why, maybe the books explain it better, but there are a few moments where you don't really understand why a character would do something or say something, but these are just kind of small moments that help to push the overall plot forward. Looking at Maze Runner The Death Cure as a whole, I would say that this is a really surprising and well executed action film. The action is great, the visual effects are top notch, and for fans of the franchise, this film does a good job of wrapping everything up and giving us a solid conclusion. Like I said, the runtime is an issue. They probably could have shaved another half an hour off of the film, but at the end of the day, it really does just come down to your personal taste. I think if you liked the previous films or read any of the books, you'll probably really enjoy this film, maybe even more than the previous two. If you weren't a fan of either the films or the books, you'll probably be bored by the long runtime and wonder why certain characters do certain things. To rank the film out of 10, I'll give Maze Runner The Death Cure a 6.5. And that's pretty much it for my spoiler-free review. I want to say thanks for listening to this episode. Why not head over to iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, or SoundCloud and check out some of our previous podcasts. If you've liked this review, why not hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any future episodes. And again, just thanks for listening, and hopefully I'll see you in the next episode.